Wisconsin Broadcasters Association Hall of Famer Bob Berry ruled Milwaukee's airwaves in the 60s and 70s. He spoke with countless musicians and celebrities over the years. Bob collected remarkable recordings of these encounters, which he's now sharing with the public. Here's Bob.
If you were a fan of that long-running CBS TV series, Hawaii Five-0, you weren't alone. The popular catchphrase, "Book 'em, Danno," came from that show.
Book 'em, Danno.
Actor Jack Lord starred as Detective Steve McGarrett, head of the State Police Criminal Investigation Department in Honolulu. After he appeared as Felix Leiter in the James Bond film Dr. No, he demanded a bigger role and more money, which resulted in his dismissal. He was offered the role of Captain Kirk on Star Trek, but when he asked for 50% ownership of the show, the part went to William Shatner. He also lost the part of Eilot Ness to Robert Stack in The Untouchables. But he did have parts in many TV shows, including Bonanza, The Fugitive, the FBI, and Have Gun, Will Travel.
Good morning.
Good morning, Jack. How are you?
Well, we're fine. And you?
It's got to be pretty early right now where you are, huh? Boy, how do you do it?
It's a routine. We've been doing it for 9 years now, actually more, because it's the way I work. I'm a morning person, and I get up very early and study my lines and lay out the day's work. So it's really no sacrifice. I go to bed very early in the evening.
Yeah, I'll bet you have to. What was the first cop show on television, filmed entirely on location and starred Jack Lord? And if you haven't guessed yet, it's Hawaii Five-0, and that's why we're talking to Jack Lord this morning. Jack is in Hawaii. He is up early, getting ready to film another Hawaii Five-0. The series is entering its 9th year of production, and the star of the show, Jack Lord, is on the air with us right now. Why do you think the series has lasted that long, Jack?
Well, I think it's a multifaceted thing. Many things contribute to it. I think the location, for one, it's this beautiful ambiance of Hawaii. We're only 20 degrees above the equator here, and the light is hot and brilliant, unlike the mainland. And of course, there's no smog here, so the light is even clearer and more beautiful. I think the background, the faces, these beautiful Polynesian people, the mixture of Oriental and Caucasian and Polynesian, I think that has a contributing factor. I think the character of McGarrett is a good one. I'm not talking about me now, I'm talking about the character as written. I think he's a dedicated guy. I think he's many colors. I think he feels for people, he cares about people, and that comes across. And of course, the most important thing of all are the stories.
Right.
We have an exceptionally good pair of story editors who ferret out and develop stories that are endemic to this place.
Have they been with you all along, Jack? All throughout the...
No, we have a theory about talent. We constantly change our directors. Most actors like to latch on to a director and keep him for the duration, but I feel differently. I feel that new blood, new ideas must come in. You have to be shaken up. You can't be comfortable in this business. A lot of actors like to be comfortable, and they shoot the right side of your face, and they light you in a certain way, and I don't agree with that theory. I think that people should make demands on you as an actor so that you can use all the muscles, all the emotions that are lying dormant, and we constantly change. We constantly look for new directors coming up. Sometimes we fall on our face when we give an assignment. Sometimes we are eminently successful. It's the nature of the business. Getting back to the last point, which I skipped over rather lightly, you haven't got it unless you've got it on the page, unless you've got it in the script of anywhere from 50 to 55 pages, which means roughly 50 or 55 minutes of film that we send to Hollywood every 7 days. If you don't have it there, you haven't got it. So all those things, I think, contribute to the success of a show.
I know the creator-producer of Hawaii Five-0, Leonard Freeman, died recently. Have you taken over much of his responsibilities?
Yes, most of that stuff fell to me. I'm the only living partner in the show now. CBS, of course, is a partner, and Leonard Freeman's estate is a partner. But when Lenny died, he died on the operating table. He was having a bypass operation a couple of years ago, and most of those things fell to me, and I had to pick up the pieces and go on.
Now, you mentioned you own part of the show, and of course the 192 episodes completed to date. Now, because of your financial interest, do you think you do a better job, or would you do the same job if you had no financial interest in the series?
No, I've always had a very dedicated attitude about work, whether I was working for Metro or Columbia or Universal. I'm a strange cat. I learned the work ethic very early in life, and we were brought up. We're from an Irish family where everyone had to carry their load, and I've always felt that way. I think you should go the second mile, as Jesus said. I think you should always carry your load, and the input is very important.
Jack Lord is on the air with us from Hawaii 5-0, and he's talking to us from Hawaii. And I knock the telephone company a lot, Jack, because we get a lot of bad lines. But boy, I got to tell you, this line is terrific.
Sure is.
Yeah, this is the best line. We get better line. We've got a better line here than we do right in Milwaukee sometimes. What is a typical day like for you now? Like, what will today be like for you shooting Hawaii 5-0?
Well, I have 10 pages of dialogue to learn before I go to work. That's a daily occurrence. Most of the dialogue and most of the scenes sort of revolve around the character of McGarrett. So I get up at usually 4:30. My wife gets up before me and makes breakfast, and we both have breakfast together.
Wow.
And then I sit down and I study my lines until I learn them, and she usually hears me them. I hand her the script, and she plays all the other characters, and I play McGarrett. And when I feel that I've got them, I get up. I get into a sweatsuit usually, and I take a run on the beach, or I ride my bicycle, either one. I get bored jogging. Jogging is a lonely business. I either do that or ride the bike, and then I come back, hop in the shower, have a good longshoreman's breakfast, and then a car comes at 6:30 and brings me to whatever location we're shooting at. I never pay much attention to the locations. I just say to the driver, "Where are we going today?" He'll say, "Oh, Pearl City or Pearl Harbor or Wahiawa or Waimanalo or one of the places we shoot in." We shoot 5 days exterior and 2 days interior on every show. That's a pretty good average. We have a standing set, McGarrett's office and the governor's office and the laboratory, the police laboratory. We have that on the stage. We have a proper stage, good 12,000 square foot stage, right at the foot of Diamond Head. Anyway, and then we shoot until we lose the light. We usually lose the light at this time of year around 6:30. In the middle of the summer, it's around 7:30.
Are you bothered by tourists at all, Jack?
Oh, not bothered by them, because we have 8 or 10 policemen on the set at all times. They're a very important part of our lives. Without fans, you don't have a show, so we try to accommodate them whenever possible. I've used that as a policy from the very beginning, even when I was doing Stony Brook. If people want a picture or an autograph, we try to accommodate them if the workload permits. And I encourage that among our cast.
Well, I got to say, you got a terrific wife, though. Gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning. Gee, how many wives would do that?
Yeah, that's right. The wife of my youth.
Yeah.
It's me still.
How did you get the part of Steve McGarrett, Jack?
Oh, that's a long story.
Is it?
I'll give you the capsule version.
Okay.
I was going to do a Western for CBS. After Stony Brook, they wanted me to do a Western, and I was very willing to do it. That was 10 years ago, when Westerns were still in vogue. And they put me under contract with the understanding that if it did not go forward, they had the right to submit another property. And it was just at that time when they were going to cancel Gunsmoke. They thought that Gunsmoke had run its course, and they were going to let it go. And then Then the new schedule went to New York, and Mr. Paley looked at it and said, "Where is Gunsmoke?" That was his favorite show, or his wife's favorite show, I understand. And they scurried around and said, let's see now. I think it's here. Oh, yeah, here it is on Saturday night at 7:30, and it was the most unlikely spot. It was the one spot that was open. So they quickly penciled in Gunsmoke at 7:30 on Saturday night, and it went on the schedule. And by the way, it flourished there. It flourished. It had a new rebirth. But because they they renewed Gunsmoke. They didn't need the extra Western, so I was out in limbo for a while. They submitted several properties, none of which I liked and none of which I agreed to do. Then one morning early, Paul King, who was the vice president of CBS, called me and said, "Jack, I've got a property here. I'd like you to read it. Can you call me back by 9 o'clock? That's 9 a.m. I said, "Sure." So he sent it over by messenger, and I sat down and read the first half of it, and I looked up at my wife and said, "How would you like to live in Hawaii?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "This is it, honey. This is the one we've been waiting for." So I called Paul King back, and I went in and met with him. The first thing I said is, "When do we go to work?" And he said, "Will you do it?" I said, "You bet I'll do it. I love it." That was about the genesis of it.
You take any vitamins or health foods or anything like that to keep going on that hectic schedule, Jack?
No, they don't. You have to keep in shape for this business. It's a very abstemious life. It's a very disciplined life. When you do that kind of work for 8 months of the year, I've had a 100-hour week. You know, people talk about the 40-hour week.
Yeah.
It's kind of a laugh in our business because I've worked as much as 100 hours in 1 week.
Jack, thank you very much for talking with us. Continued success with Hawaii 5-0.
Thank you. Enjoyed it, Bob.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Aloha.
Aloha.
Book 'em, Danno.
Bob Berry.
Thank you for listening to Bob Berry's Unearthed Interviews. Be sure to subscribe and rate our podcast on iTunes or wherever you find your podcasts. You can find all the episodes at WisconsinBroadcastingMuseum.org. Check out Bob Berry's book, Rock and Roll Radio Milwaukee. Book sale proceeds support Angels Kids Fund and Donate Life Wisconsin. The preceding program was made possible by a generous contribution from Terry Bond.